It's been 2 years since the start of the war. The blood of the humans stained the earth while the dust of the monsters blew in the wind. The war made Ant sick. He wasn't a soldier, he was a bard. Entertainment was his purpose, not all of this death. The ant monster frowned. So many humans had loved his performances, whether it was music or plays. He'd always made them smile, so then why? He hummed a sweet tune to lighten his own mood. It was one of Spamton's favorite melodies. He would sing it every time Spamton needed him as a muse for when he was painting. And Spamton painted the most beautiful pieces of art. It was so kind of Queen Toriel to welcome Spamton into the camp. He was one of the few humans who chose the monster's side for the war. And how could he not, when Ant, the love of his life, was a monster himself? The war had been so hard on the mailman. He'd grown a bit paranoid, waking up in cold sweats, having nightmares almost every night. But it was okay. Ant would stay by his side. Always. Spamton had been so tired lately. And Ant, he loved holding the small human while he slept. What is he doing? A monster that Ant barely paid attention to asked nearby. Is that? Yeah. Another monster whispered. He's just bandaged it up, and how long has he been like this? Hours. We should get the queen. The monsters nodded to each other, leaving Ant rocking back and forth, keeping his dear mailman asleep. He was so exhausted after all. Anthony. Queen Toriel's soft voice rose from behind him. She knelt. Hello, Tori, he whispered back. Sorry if I sound rude, but may you please keep your voice low. Spammy needs his rest. Yes. Tell me, Anthony, what do you remember from this morning? Toriel lowered her voice as Ant requested. Well, Spammy made breakfast and then said he was going to be on patrol for the day. He came back so tired, poor thing didn't even want dinner. Toriel's expression grew sadder as the ant monster talked. She put her hand on his shoulder. No, Anthony, that's not what happened. Anthony's expression darkened, becoming unreadable. Spamton was on patrol, yes, but he and his group were attacked. Stop it. Ant stood suddenly. He held his love tight in his arms. 3 arms. He usually had 4. You tried to save him, Anthony. You lost your arm. Shut up. Stop talking. Ant squeezed Spamton closer to his chest. He just needs rest. Ant's breath quickened. He's so tired after today. He barely gets any sleep these days. Toriel stood up slowly and walked carefully towards Ant with her arms raised. Anthony, take a deep breath. Don't touch him! Ant backed into a tent wall. He's asleep. He's tired. He'll wake up when he gets enough rest. Toriel gently took Ant's arms, slowly unfolding them, to reveal Spamton. Ant was shaking badly now. Spamton looked so pale, but his eyes were glassy, glossed over, and he was limp. It was impossible to deny. He was dead. Ant had been too late when he'd heard the screams. He'd been so blinded by rage that after killing all of the humans who dared, he'd just completely shut down. He'd not even realized he'd lost one of his arms. He'd picked up Spamton's mangled body, dressed his wounds the best he could, but the human was already dead. But he'd convinced himself. His lover was just sleeping. I'm so sorry, my child. He was... Ant's legs gave out. He fell to his knees, still holding Spamton close, completely lost in his tortured mind. He didn't even notice when Toriel gently took Spamton from his arms. It was all a blur as he was then laid down in the infirmary. Spamton was buried under a beautiful tree. He died saving the others, using the fact that he was a human as a distraction. They didn't take too kindly to monster sympathizers after all. Ant, for his part, stopped eating. He never sang for the other soldiers again. And he decided he would lay under the same shady tree where his love letter was buried. Though many tried, they could not get Anthony to leave. And in the end, Anthony died of heartbreak under the shady tree turning into dust that blew through the tree's leaves as it joined the wind.